All right, let's talk about protein. It's the fundamental building block of our meals and our bodies. We're about to get to the meat of the matter, and yeah, the beans, the tofu, and the fish too. So, what does it really mean to build a meal around protein?
First off, I want you to do something for me. Just picture your last meal. Go on, really think about it. What was the star of the show? A big steak? Some grilled chicken? Or maybe it was a hearty lentil soup? What we choose to put on our plate, well, it says a lot. And that's exactly what we're going to unpack today.
So let's start with the absolute basics, right? What even is protein? We hear the word all the time. We know it's the foundation of our meal, but what's its job, really? What's it supposed to be doing for us beyond just making us feel full? Well, if you look at something like the Canada Food Guide, they say a whole quarter of your plate should be dedicated to protein, and there's a really good reason for that. It's not just about building muscle. These foods are absolute powerhouses of energy, B vitamins, iron, and zinc. All the stuff that's essential for our bodies to just work.
Now, of course, protein isn't just one thing. It really falls into two big categories, right? You've got your animal proteins, that's meat, fish, dairy, all that stuff. And then you have your plant-based proteins, legumes, nuts, soy. And here's the key trade-off you gotta know. While both are fantastic protein sources, the plant-based options usually bring a lot less saturated fat and a whole lot more fiber to the table.
And this is where we get to the heart of the issue. Our choices between these two types of protein, they have consequences that go way, way beyond just our own health. There's kind of this hidden story, a hidden cost to what we're putting on our plates every single day.
Let's just look at this. I mean, the numbers really tell the story here. To produce 1 single kilogram of beef, we're releasing almost 100 kilograms of greenhouse gases. Now, look at poultry, it's under 10. And tofu, just over 3. The difference? It's just staggering. It's not even close.
And it's not just emissions, it's also about water. Take a look at this number, 15,400. That's how many liters of water it takes to produce 1 kilogram of beef. Just let that sink in. It is an incredible amount of a super precious resource for just one food item.
And look, this isn't some fringe idea. The United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization, the FAO, they put it pretty bluntly. They say livestock farming is one of the main environmental problems facing humanity. I mean, when the UN's own food agency says something like that, you know it's time to pay attention. Okay, so that's the problem. It's a big one. But this isn't about pointing fingers or making you feel bad. It's about finding solutions. So how can we build a better plate? One that's healthier for us and for the planet? It really just starts with making a few smart choices.
It really boils down to 4 simple, totally actionable steps. First, just try to eat more plant-based proteins. Think lentils, tofu. You'll get a great fiber boost. Second, bring in fish that's rich in those heart-healthy omega-3s, like salmon. Third, when you do eat meat, just choose leaner cuts and trim off the visible fat. And finally, number 4, try to limit the highly processed stuff.
And I really want to double down on that last point because it's critical. The World Health Organization has put out a specific warning about processed meats. Things like charcuterie. They often have these preservatives called nitrates, and those can form compounds that are potentially carcinogenic. It's a really serious health consideration to keep in your back pocket.
Okay, so let's zoom back out for a second, because making these smart choices isn't just about our personal health. It's about the health of the planet. It's about eating with that bigger picture in mind.
So how do we actually do that? Honestly, it's probably easier than you think. You could try starting with 1 or 2 meatless days a week. It's a fantastic way to try some new recipes. When you do buy meat, maybe look for local and ethical producers. And maybe the most important one, just focus on reducing food waste. And this right here, this is what puts food waste into perspective. Check it out. Meat and poultry make up only about 13% of the food we throw out, but they are responsible for nearly 60% of the emissions from that waste. So the big takeaway here is that wasting meat has this hugely outsized, disproportionate impact on our environment.
And, wasting food doesn't just hurt the planet. It hurts your wallet, too. The average Canadian family tosses about $1,300 worth of food every single year. Thinking about that cost, well, it can be a pretty powerful motivator to clean your plate.
So, after all of this, what's the big takeaway? Where does all this information leave us? Well,
It all comes right back down to your plate and the impact that you have every single day. The central message is actually pretty simple. Your choices matter a lot. The decision to have a bean burrito instead of a beef one, or just making sure you use up all the chicken you bought. It might seem like a small thing, but when millions and millions of us make those same small choices, they add up to a massive positive impact for our bodies and for our world. In the end, every single meal is a statement. Our food choices tell a story about our health, our values, and our vision for the future. So the question I want to leave you with is this: what story is your plate going to tell?